The Central is presented by Vans, Comics, Cards, and Games. Better players, better gaming. Visit online at vansccg.com or stop by right off of Pear Orchard in Ridgeland.
Hello, Jaguars. I'm Miller Widemire.
And I'm Wes Fowler. And this is
J&N's The Central. And now for our top school story. This week, Madison Central held its annual Beauty and Bow pageant themed the Golden 20s. The MC Financial staff hosts the event each year as a way to fundraise for future projects. Congratulations to all the beauties and bows in each class.
And now for our top news headline. The 2020 presidential election officially kicked off on Monday with the Iowa caucus. However, not all went according to plan. There is still no official result, but with 70% of the precincts reporting, Pete Buttigieg leads the party with 27% of the vote. And now to David with our sports update.
Thanks, Wes. The MC boys soccer team won the pivotal North State Championship game last night in Tupelo. They will now advance to the state championship game. Good luck to our MC soccer boys.
Thanks, David. As we dive into the second semester here at Madison Central, research paper season approaches. To cover how to prepare, here's J&N's Gabby Newman.
With research paper season already underway, many students can find themselves wondering why they have to write a good paper. With much time spent on correcting grammar, finding reliable sources, and citing those sources, students can find this process quite tedious and redundant. While the writing process is a tedious one, teachers advise you go ahead and learn the steps in preparation for college.
I know that research papers are employed in college classes, not just your English classes. Sometimes the kids aren't even, or the students aren't even required to complete a paper. They spend the time conducting the research and they show the evidence. So the final product is not even an essay, it is just the final product is that they have recognized the steps that are necessary to conduct strong research.
Along with teachers, upcoming college students also advise that this is a very important process.
I believe that using all of the resources that the library gives to go through a database, search a number of books that they have available, as well as multiple other things like figuring out how to cite things correctly and doing annotated bibliography are really important steps, because I know that you're going to have to use those in college and professors aren't going to really teach you, they're going to expect you to know how to use them. And so being able to have been taught that in high school I think is going to be really beneficial.
Along with learning the research process, it's also good to plan ahead and know where you're going from the beginning.
Just make an outline. It's so much easier if you just make an outline and have all of your ideas together. You hate doing it, but it just pays off. And also take note of your sources. Even if you don't think that you found anything that's really going to help you in your paper, still write them down and keep them in mind in case you need an additional detail that you remembered from that one website.
Research requires that you have a broad question, right? You start with a working thesis, you start with a broad claim that you make, and then that helps you know where to go to gather the information. So if history, so let's say you want to do a research paper and it's in history, well, there's a lot of history, and are you picking United States history, or are you picking British history? And if you're doing history but you want to do something with just say military history, well, you have to have a broad claim that you narrow and narrow and narrow to help you know where to go, and you've got to give yourself plenty of time to find the information and to really read it. You have to read the information in order to get good results.
Overall, we can see that research papers are very crucial for preparing for college. With this knowledge, you can be successful in achieving your academic goals. So how well prepared are you? This has been Gabby Newman with J&N.
Thanks, Gabby. This past month, we celebrated Martin Luther King Jr. Day by commemorating his life and achievements. The Mississippi Civil Rights Museum hosted the Martin Luther King Jr. Night of Culture on this historic day. Here's J&N's David Ramsey with more.
The civil rights movement brought racial tensions to the forefront of the public eye, and here in Jackson, Mississippi, those tensions erupted into violence. Through all the unrest, Martin Luther King Jr. stood as a beacon of hope to those who fought for equality. Each year on the third Monday of January, we take time to remember the many men and women who gave everything for that fight. The Jackson Civil Rights Museum's Night of Culture takes the solemn nature of MLK Day and turns it into a night of celebration.
I think that for me, anytime that communities get together, specifically communities of color, black people, when we get together, we're gonna have a good time. And when we can infuse like our art and our music and our families and food and fun, when we can get all of that together in the same space and welcome people from outside to come in and be a part of that, I think that's a win for not just our community as black people, people of color, but for our,
I mean, for the whole area, the whole community, period, all races.
My name is Aunt Sarah.
We are looking for things to do on Martin Luther King Day. That's important. It could be community work. It can be coming to a program. But what we want people to go away with an understanding that there's this need for us to be educated.
The MLK Night of Culture featured many different events throughout the night. They had live painters, musicians, and poets showcase their artwork in remembrance of various civil rights workers.
I'm very proud to have young people involved in this program, young community artists that have regular day jobs just like everybody else, but they are creatives. They are trying to use what talents God has given them to inspire other people. So I'm really proud that the museum is taking part in this program and engaging in the community.
The Civil Rights Museum's Night of Culture shines light on our past struggles and brings hope to future generations. This has been David Ramsey with JNN.
Thanks, David. The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas immediately exploded into popularity upon its release. The book calls to attention many race-related issues in today's society. With more on the story, here is JNN's Isabella Ragazzi.
In the bustling town of Jackson, Mississippi, a girl named Angie Thomas grew up dealing with racial struggles that would plant the seeds for her masterpiece, The Hate U Give.
This book, though filled with real-life possibilities, ironically faced hate itself. The book consists of an African-American girl who lives in a poor neighborhood called Garden Heights. Garden Heights is used to symbolize a neighborhood similar to those in Jackson, Mississippi. There is controversy when the main character Star and her friend Khalil are leaving a party and are pulled over by a police officer, who then shoots and kills her friend upon false pretenses.
It shows how drastic and how violent police brutality is. Other books, like Dear Martin by Nick Carter, portrays how police brutality is, but they all do it in their own sort of way.
This book was a powerful notion for many who have been in similar situations as the main character and to many on the outside of the controversy. It shows that African American girls can stand up for themselves and friends to make a difference. After the book's initial explosion with readers, many schools implemented it into their required reading. One school in South Carolina, Wando High School, removed the book from their school and banned it from the library due to the belief that it was anti-police.
I first heard of the book, The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas, when I went to an AP workshop, not this past summer, but the summer before. But after reading it, I wanted to use it in my classroom. I felt that it was a good way to introduce that other side of Mississippi that Madisonians don't really get to see very often. So the bottom line with Central Office was that it was approved, but not as a required read.
Our own school, Madison Central, would not allow the book as a part of the required reading.
A good teacher, I think, must pay attention to her audience and to her class and to what her class is capable of. I think in my hands, in my classroom, it doesn't matter if I were teaching 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th, I think that I could use the book to raise that kind of an awareness between identity and culture.
This book has delivered an outlet of education to those who did not think of the pain on the inside of shooting based on speculation. It proves to be a very important piece of literature in today's society.
So next time you're in a bookstore or a library, check out your own copy of The Hate U Give and give it a read and see what you learn.
Thanks, Isabella. Well, that's all for this time, Jags. Be sure to check online for daily announcements at mcjags.com on the JNN page. I'm Miller Widemire.
And I'm Wes Fowler. And this has been
JNN's The Central.